me and Ryan have been officially welcomed to the jungle that is Barstool Sports.
Our white whale, Sidney Crosby.
Shave his head! Shave his head! Shave his head!
Ryan Whitney, Paul Bissonette, R.A., Mike Grinelli, Spittin Chiclets!
Hello, folks. This is Ryan Whitney, an American, and we are coming to you with episode 546 of the Spittin Chiclets podcast, and it's a sad day. It's a bad day for us Americans. But before the game, there was energy, there was excitement, there was enthusiasm, and there was Pink Whitney. We got to shout out the greatest bar, one of the all-time pregame party meet and greets we've ever been associated with. The Pink Whitney was flowing. Chucking Pink Whitney merch everywhere. The shots were being drilled one after one after one. And now I believe that Pink Whitney will be flowing in Canada just a little bit extra. Once again, in Best on Best, the 2002 Olympics, the 2010 Olympics, the 2014 Olympics, the 2016 World Cup, and the 2025 Four Nations Face-Off, Canada wins. Biz, congratulations. I'm sick to my stomach. I don't want to be here right now. I can't stand you. My DMs are loaded with people calling me pussy and bitch and ugly dick-eared fuck. And I'm really, really sad. Really sad. But I got to give you credit, Biz. You called it. So take your victory lap and shove us in a locker one time.
You know what? I'm going to take the high road here, and instead of gloating all over you guys, I'm going to. Because I just want to say that this was so big for Canada. I don't think people realize how big this was for Canada. We needed a W. Trump dropped the 51st state. Ha, 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 ha. The Americans had to laugh. Our little brother, we're going to own you. We're going to gobble you up. All of a sudden, the threats of the tariffs, oh my God, our economy dips a little bit. People are freaking out. But one thing we still have, folks, is hockey. We are the greatest hockey nation on the planet. That will remain. And boy, oh boy, did this tournament set the table for next year's Olympics. The league should applaud themselves. This is one of the greatest things to happen in hockey in a very, very long time. This might have started out as an idea that was, okay, instead of All-Star, we're just going to do this Four Nations. And, it's kind of a little gimmicky, I guess. Nah. Maybe that's how it all started. But what it transformed into was something much bigger. And on top of that, we got to give a lot of credit to the United States in their hand in bringing it to what it was. Like, think about this, man. Like the Tkachuks brothers. Like people in the States now know the talent that the Americans have on the hockey side and how they're coming up as a powerful hockey nation. This is a big moment in USA hockey history. I genuinely think if they would have pulled off that victory, boys, it would have been the third, fourth, at least, let's say worst case scenario, fifth largest event to propel hockey in the United States of America. So, hey, applaud yourselves. You guys got some fucking dogs on your side, and I cannot wait for Italy. It is going to be an absolute shit show over there. And last thing I'll say before I hand it back over to you guys is I am so fucking proud of the boys for pulling that off. That was big. To hear Trump called in, I would pay maybe $500,000 to hear what he had to say to the Americans. You know that he was chirping Trudeau. You know he was. You know that he was talking about him being the governor of the 51st state. You know he was throwing those petty shots.
He's going to be a mayor
the orange
now.
Man can't hold back from doing it. And he calls to rev them up, and we go into your building and we bend you guys over. No spit, no lube, sandpaper finish. And to have McJesus cap it all off, the torch has been passed. Nobody could question anymore. Can McDavid win the big one? He did win the big one. I'm so proud of those fucking guys. Cooper, the whole staff, way to go. Way to go, boys. Captain Crosby. Take it away, guys. What do you guys have to say?
Well, first off, tip of the cap to Canada.
Thank you.
Tip of the cap to Canada.
Thank you.
Jordan Binnington.
Oh, Binner.
I said it to my, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to go back a little bit. I want to thank all the players that participated in this. What an amazing week of hockey. first time probably since maybe I was a little kid. I'm thinking maybe Patriots days, the dynasty days, where I was a true fan. I really, really felt how, most of our listeners feel about their team. Because when you played in the NHL, after you're done retiring, you played on a couple teams, you root for, guys that you played with, guys that you're friends with, and, teams that you played for. But you don't really have that, like, that one team. And I had that for these last 2 weeks or whatever it was. And I fell more in love with the game than I ever have. I was sitting on the edge of my seat every single game. The United States of America coming in hot, coming into Canada, beating Canada. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. The Tkachuk brothers, all the Boston kids on that team. Just an amazing, amazing couple, 10 days, 12 days of hockey. Couldn't be more happy to be a part of it from the outside looking in and being able to talk about it like this with you guys. But I really, truly enjoyed every single minute of this hockey that was being played. It was amazing. The guys didn't have to be there. It's not an Olympic thing where you have to go to this. But the guys went out there and they put on an absolute clinic. Every team, especially Canadians and the U.S., but put on a clinic for our sport and our fans. And I couldn't be more proud to be a part of, once being a part of the NHL and what those guys did. I really, really loved this tournament and loved the best on best and can't wait for more. And congrats to you, Biz. You guys still are reigning champs. But I'll tell you one thing for free. We are coming in Italy.
Coming. You're coming.
We are absolutely coming. And it's going to be bad news. And I don't know why you're bringing all the politics into this. Just let it be hockey. All right, Biz? Just let it be hockey.
Oh, like for me, like I told the PMT guys, like I thought it was the perfect amount of political spice. Like I'm not like genuinely bitter.
Everything is perfect.
I thought it was like, hey, the 51st state chirp. Like, hey, Trump can chirp. And I hope he could fucking take him back. I chirped him about his speech on Twitter last night. And Whit, I'll throw it back over to you. Like, who thought that the finals was going to be able to live up to the hype of the game on Saturday? And it delivered. Like this, from front to back, the fact that first game against Sweden, you have the first goal, Crosby to McKinnon. The fact that McKinnon ends up winning MVP, torch pass. The fact that McJesus ends up getting the winner. Like just all of it. The fact, like overtime, much like the Olympics when Crosby had the fucking golden goal. Like this is it feels like it was fucking scripted.
Every goddamn time Canada gets it done. And I'm sick and friggin' tired of it. But sometimes, as Keith said, you got to tip your cap and say, you are the guys. And every single time. Now, I sat down for the game. I got tickets for my dad, my wife, and Ryder. He's got my USA jersey on. He's so fired up. He's excited. I told him he was going to the game. He can't wait. I'm like, this is so cool. And then I'm thinking, and I'm being reminded on Twitter, in 2010 in Vancouver, you won that round robin game, Whit. And then when the gold medal game came, and it was overtime, and everything was on the line, you lost. And I'm sitting there thinking, I know. And I believe that's why I mentioned, I kind of hope that we almost lose in overtime the first game that we played against Canada. It's so difficult to beat a team that good twice. But it's all right, because Ryder's coming, and he's all ready to go. And we're sitting there, and we're watching the game, and overtime starts. And he says, Dad, I'm so nervous. My stomach feels so nervous. I said, I know, buddy, but this is the greatest sport in the world. There's nothing like overtime in a big hockey game. I go, you just stick with it. You can be nervous when it's in our zone. Don't be nervous when it's in their zone. Be excited. And then the whistle blew on the icing. I had no issue with the icing. I was actually sitting right there. I thought Point got there first. Like that was an icing.
Yes, he did.
He outraced Jack Hughes, who we'll get into some players in a little bit, but. And then Ryder leans over to me and he says, Dad, oh no. I said, what, son? He said, McDavid's on the ice. I said, it's okay. I said, it's okay, buddy. Next thing you know, and I look over. And this poor 7-year-old, 46 pounds he weighs, just balling.
No.
And you Canadians, I know you're laughing at this. You made my son cry. You made my son cry at midnight. I said, buddy, it's all right. You can cry for this one. Because he's cried at other games. I said, stop crying. If you lose an enormous championship game, that's everything in the world to you could cry. I said, this counts, buddy. And I was whispering in his ear, the Olympics are in 355 days, buddy. We got Italy in 355 days. He said, I don't care about the Olympics. I told you McDavid was going to score. I told you. And you know what? Before the game, I was talking to a bunch of Canadians. I met a couple guys. I got to shout these guys out. These animals. I had a bad feeling when I met these guys. These Canadian animals. They all had jerseys on. They all had hats on. They were crushed. They got to the greatest bar at 2 o'clock. The game was at 8:15. They said, Whit, can we get a picture? Can we get some pink Whitney? I said, yeah. He goes, we're from Winnipeg. No, I said, where are you guys from? We're from Winnipeg. I said, oh, that's awesome. Love you guys flying out. He goes, our flights got canceled. We drove 33
Oh, is this Jarvis's buddies?
Jarvis's buddies.
No shit.
33 hours we drove. We weren't missing this game. I said, Jesus, that's a bad omen for us. Because you knucklehead Canadians driving through Western Canada, Toronto, Detroit, whatever fucking route you took to get to Boston in time to see your buddy. This is bad news. But I told these guys, I said, listen, we have the best goalie in the world. Your goalie, while being clutch, he's given up a bad goal every game. Against Finland, you could maybe say 2 of the goals were bad. I said, I really think the only chance we have to win is if Hellebuck stands on his head and Binnington sucks in a couple softies. And fucking Jordan Binnington, boys. This guy is as clutch as it gets. How about this stat? Binner. We'll call him Binner because he's a sick puppy.
Oh,
he really
yeah.
is. We interviewed him, Keith, years back. He's a sick puppy. He's as confident as you would ever want your goalie to be. He doesn't give a shit about the naysayers and the haters. He's played in 3 winner-take-all games.
I texted him. I texted him on Tuesday. I said, you're going full snowman mode Thursday.
Well, I would hope that mean lets in 8 goals, but
You kept saying snowman. What does that mean?
what's snowman?
That's his nickname. That's his nickname. You don't know.
Is he a
If
wolf
you don't know, you
monster?
don't know.
Okay, we'll move on from that one. 29 of 30 saves in the 2019 second round Game 7 against Dallas, where Patty Maroon buried the double overtime winner. 32 of 33 saves in the 2019 Stanley Cup Final Game 7 against Boston. Where was that game, boys? That was
Fleet Center.
That was
the
at the
Garden.
Fleet Center. That was at the Garden. That was at TD North, whatever the hell the name of it now is. And then he makes 31 of 33 saves in the Four Nations Face-Off Final. And those saves in overtime. Those saves on Austin Matthews, 2 of them. And then Brady Tkachuk in the glove. And I leaned over to my dad and I said, Dad, and I was whispering, I want Ryder to hear. I said, Dad, you know how this goes. You get a bunch of chances in OT and you don't score. The other team always gets it done. And I am very, very, very proud to be an American. And right now I can admit, yeah, Canada, they are the top dogs. Nothing has changed. And I keep saying, we're coming. But I just was yelling before overtime, yelling to the whole section. I said, one time, can we beat you? I had a woman next to me. She sat down. You know what she said? She stopped me in the hall about an hour before the puck drop. She says, Whit, can I get a picture? I love Chiclets. Where's Biz? I said, fuck Biz. And I took a picture with her. And then she sits down. Randomly, an hour later, she comes down the aisle. She's sitting right next to me. She goes, oh, my God. I was like, oh, Jesus. She was so friendly. She said, I thought you were the biggest asshole, but you're a really nice guy. And I looked at her right before overtime. I said, one time, woman. One time. And she said, it ain't going to happen. She said, it ain't going to happen. We win the big ones. And then she looked over and she said, I told you we win the big ones.
Oh,
and
Oh, no.
And
I
had
would have
nothing.
fucking left.
And I had nothing. And I've been rambling on and on here. And it's like,
No, it's okay. We're your daddy. It's okay.
I know. This is I was
We're your
walking
daddy.
out of the garden just muttering to myself, I fucking hate my job. My job's gonna suck tomorrow. This stinks. I'm checking DMs like an absolute lunatic, getting ripped on left and right. I wanted to drive my car off the highway, but I had my wife and my dad and my son in the car. And the scary thing is, Keith, as we're coming and as we're right there, we are right there. But in the biggest moments, we cannot get it done. But we are right there. But it's
Right
like
there.
they have McDavid They have McKinnon. Next year, they'll still have Crosby. Like, we don't have that. We don't, like, what I've said is we're there, but the upper echelon talent, like, it is a little different. And they have this kid, Gavin McKenna, coming, and Celebrini will be on the Olympic team. And, like, we have kids coming too, but there's just something about the talent and then something about the part of you inside that's like,
I think the word you're looking for is the guts.
We have guts.
We have the guts. Fuck you,
We
Biz.
have guts.
Take that back.
I was just saying
Take
that
it
we
back.
might have more. No,
Take
I'm not
back
saying
the
you
guts
don't.
comment.
We got more. We got the clutch
No, you
guts.
don't.
We just talked
There's no
about
such thing
Witt's
as clutch
kid.
guts.
Witt's kid, he didn't have the guts.
What's a
Couldn't
clutch gut?
Take it. Couldn't take the nerves, right? It's almost like an inherent thing in the United States when it comes to hockey. You just can't.
You're born
especially
with
when
it.
it gets to overtime. And there's something very poetic about me taking the high road and yet this turning into like a Team USA /Witt venting session. This has turned into therapy. This couldn't have worked out any better for the Canadian listeners right now. We're their daddy. They were talking shit all week long.
Yeah.
They try to come into our building, start fights, rip on our country, and take our sport,
did.
and it ain't.
Well, we didn't
fucking
try
happening.
to. We did it. It just was the game that you don't want to do it in.
Yeah. Good news is this trophy doesn't mean too much.
What's up, guys? Whit here. And before we go any further, I need to talk to you about Orgain. As an athlete or a former athlete, it does not matter. I care about what I put in my body, especially when it comes to protein. This podcast is sponsored by Orgain, and Orgain believes real nutrition has the power to make a real difference in people's lives. Orgain's new 30-gram complete protein shakes offer protein-packed real nutrition designed to satisfy your cravings without any added sugar. Plus, they're an excellent source of premium ultra-filtered protein with all 9 essential amino acids. That's right. The amino acids are big time, and they got 9 essential ones in there. Looking to fuel your personal best? Need muscle support and recovery? Or are you just looking to maintain a healthy lifestyle? Orgain's 30-gram protein shakes check all of the boxes. Are you busy? Us too. I'm busy as well. Kids running around, and that's why Orgain is simple. You literally just grab one of Orgain's protein shakes and you go. Bring it to a workout, in the car, whatever you need. No more time-consuming prep and no more big blenders to get the protein you need. Orgain tastes great. I love the vanilla. I love the chocolate. It's perfect. It's easy. And remember, there are no quick fixes when it comes to your health. If you want more protein, give Orgain 30-gram protein shakes a try. Head on over to Orgain.com/Chiclets and use code Chiclets for 30% off your order. That's Orgain.com/Chiclets. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use our code Chiclets for 30% off. One last time, for 30% off, head to Orgain.com/Chiclets and use my code Chiclets. How do you leave McJesus that open in the slot? How?
Well,
Why did Matthews go to the corner? And Matthews, what? If I'm a Leafs
Amazing.
fan, Marner and Matthews both in the
buddy.
biggest game
Mitchie.
showed up.
Mitchie came through.
Mitch came through, and Matthews
Two primary
was a horse.
Just going back to what you just said, like Matthews, what a showing. There's some guys who really step up for Team USA, and he not only had those 2 assists in the game, but in overtime, he was all over the place, gets robbed at the other end, and I don't know if he was feeling good about getting those opportunities and maybe cheated it a little bit, but you can't leave McJesus that wide open. And it was just a great play to stay aggressive. Off that face-off, they won it, goes around, Cale Makar zips it, and Marner, he gets it, takes that one step to open up that lane to slide it over, and McJesus makes no mistake. So incredible showing. And if we want to go back to the start of the game, obviously some devastating news for the States coming in, as well as Canada. But Charlie McAvoy, who had an incredible game 1 against Canada, who was fucking hammering McDavid, ends up getting a shoulder virus. He had to get admitted to the hospital. I don't think we heard the full story, although the Boston Bruins released a statement. Elliot Friedman reported there was rumblings that Boston was not happy the way that the United States treated the injury initially in order to allow it to get to the place that it got to. So now it sounds like he's going to miss a little bit of time coming back from the regular season, but that was a tough loss. You can't replace a guy like that, especially his physicality. And I thought ultimately that really hurt him. So U.S. without Quinn Hughes, without Charlie McAvoy, obviously on the Canadian side, we end up losing Morrissey right before puck drop. A huge loss on the back end for us. I thought Harley and Sanheim stepped up and had great tournaments for
Harley
Canada.
was awesome.
Harley was great, especially getting the call and having to come in part the way through. So just a tip of the cap, but some tough losses that I'm sure guys that we're going to see in the lineup, hopefully come time in Italy where both these rosters will be even a little bit better. I would imagine Tage Thompson gets added to the roster. You kind of mentioned some Americans that you weren't happy with. I honestly can't say that there's one Canadian that I wouldn't say would be invited back, at least from my perspective. I know Konechny didn't get much of an opportunity. I thought Jarvis was okay, but I ultimately think that the big dogs for Canada were the big dogs, and that was the difference maker. To having Makar to not having him game one, it's night and day.
It's
and
crazy.
It scares me a little bit because he is easily Canada's most dynamic defenseman. But I do believe if Pietrangelo and Theodore are healthy, along with Morrissey, we become a lot more competent compared to what the American side was. And I'm sure you guys will touch on Jake Sanderson coming in and have an unreal tournament too. And he looks like he can make that next step as well.
Yeah, I think in the back end, I honestly think that the Americans have the better back end. But it's also when you have a guy like Cale Makar, you do not need 4 guys that can jump up in the play and that can, create some offense like he does. I think he's just a one-man show, and he can play the full 2 minutes on the power play. He can kill penalties. He really is an amazing player and just so fun to watch. But the American back end is scary good.
Yeah,
I think one or two changes for the Olympics, and they're going to be scary.
Quinn Hughes, hopefully.
So
Right,
I would imagine
yep.
you guys would say swap out Quinn Hughes for Adam Fox, probably the way that the tournament went. I thought he was probably the least valuable defenseman for the United States.
I don't know if he's battling an injury, and I feel
think
like
he
he
is.
might have hurt his knee earlier this year.
Yeah.
But it was like, you're watching the game, it's like, whoa, like there's something sticking out to everyone here. And he was going to Marner in the corner on the game-winning goal, and then kind of Matthews came over. I don't know if Matthews didn't know if Fox was kind of already going at Marner, and Matthews left McDavid alone. But the crazy part about McDavid scoring, I'll get into the USD in a sec, was McDavid actually had nothing all night. It was like he was like kind of fumbling pucks. The puck's bouncing on him a little bit. Like one time it looked like he might have like a little breakaway, kind of fell off his stick or like a half breakaway. And I was like, oh my God, like we're controlling McDavid somehow because it seems like he's getting bad bounces, bad breaks here and there. And I believe he said after, I didn't do anything in the game. But what do the greats do? That's what the best do. They still somehow end up getting it done. It's like how many times I bet you has Crosby had games that were so-so and then gets a game winner late in the third or in overtime. It's one of those things where that talent, it just shines through at the end every single time. You think back to the Lemieux letting it go through his legs in the 0-2 final. You think back to the game that Crosby played in 2010, and it's just over and over and over. The biggest players step up for Canada, and our guys stepped up, but we had our greatest player with chances in OT, and he got robbed. Usually Matthews on that shot on the ice, usually he buries that thing 5-hole. That's like 25 of his goals every year. Is that quick snapper on the ice 5-hole, and it was just about 3 inches too far to the left, and it hit Spinner's pad. And then the other one, he actually did a great job. The pass from Gensel through the legs, he got it up. Like it wasn't the pad that saved it. It was actually Binnington's shoulder. Like he did his job of getting it up over the pad, but that was our guy. We had our guy. He had his chances, and Canada had their guy get one chance, and boom. And that's the difference. But on the team,
Mr. Whitney, let me interrupt you. I'm here. It's Team Sweden, only team that didn't lose in regulation the whole tournament, by the way. But if you remember back in 2010, Sidney Crosby had a horrible tournament. Everybody was calling for his head. Why is he on the team? Why is he on the team? I said, don't worry about it.
Why is he on the team? Nobody said, why is he on the team?
Yes, they did. Go back and look at it.
No, they didn't, Murr.
Show me one tweet that
Nobody
said that
said,
Crosby
why
shouldn't
is
have been on the team.
Crosby
6 years into
They
his
won the
career.
cup the year before.
Yeah, but he had no points. He was doing nothing. And I told the guy, Stacey Roost, we're in Switzerland. Stacey Roost now, by the way, is an NHL GM, assistant GM. I said,
Roost.
I go, his impact is not on the ice. It's more of an impact off the ice. Don't worry about Sid. Boom, he got the game-winning goal. Fast forward, 2025. I'm in South Boston. I see Sid. I see the impact off the ice. There was no doubt Canada was winning last night. Sidney Crosby,
You
best
saw him
leader
out
all time
running.
in sports. I'm sorry for your U.S. teams that lost, Ryan and Keith, but
What are you talking
Sweden,
about? You're American,
we didn't lose
bro.
in regulation,
Oh,
guys.
he's a Swede now. He already told me. He had a classic
He's
line
literally
this week.
all right. Then fucking move
He had a
back. Then I
classic
heard
line
you.
this week, Keith. He said, I'm going to somehow make my son Ted nasty at hockey. He's going to be unbelievable. And then the United States National Development Team's going to call, and the World Junior Team's going to call, and I'm going to say it's payback, bitches, because you fucked me over my whole life, and my son is playing for the Swedish national team. So Merles is officially a Swede. Like I'm
That's
telling
correct.
I thought he ate so much
Officially
poutine that he
lunatic.
became a Canadian.
I
That's
wish.
what I
just
thought
don't have the
happened
passport.
last week in Montreal.
I apologize to the listeners for my voice.
you sound great, Mer.
The last week, I was protecting my voice at all costs, like everything, throat lozenges, everything. I don't get to call up the Chiclets. So yesterday, I do all my ad reads with memes. I'm like, memes, am I done? Because I'm going to this meet and greet. It's going to be so loud. I want to talk to everybody, but I know I'll lose my voice. Like, I'm done, right? We're all set. Nope. Yeah, we're done. So I go to the meet and greet. I go back down. Wait, your wife's even like, why are you going back down there? Are you crazy? I'm like, yeah, I got to go down and meet the fans. I got to talk to everybody. Completely lose my voice, yelling and screaming at that game. Maybe it might have been going into overtime. G's like, you're on the pod tomorrow. I'm like, well, my voice is already gone, guys. So I don't know what you expect from me when I get there, but my voice will be gone. But another Chiclets decathlon for me. Only part of the crew that did every game.
Congratulations, Mer.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
Way to step up.
Good
Way to
job,
step up. And bringing it back to you, the guy who stole your number with the Colorado Avalanche, I think that it's really start time to having the conversation of Nathan MacKinnon being the best player on the planet. Gets the MVP of best on best, guys. It doesn't matter who he's playing
MVP
against.
last year, probably MVP this year. He is the dog. I mean, that shot, like, nothing Helba could do. There was about 3 bodies in the way, but just the fact that he fired it like high, knowing if this thing gets through, it's in. The dog.
Smart shot. Smart shot.
Smart
That's what all
shot.
these D are doing now. Makar, Hughes, just the smart shot. Werenski, get it through. They're smart shots.
I mentioned on when I posted one of those videos to Twitter, I was celebrating obviously every goal, but that's kind of the way that Colorado beat Winnipeg, where they were throwing a lot to the net with bodies, like a lot of roll-ups, like the way that Harley kind of just attacked through the middle and then MacKinnon rolled up. You get the screens and you just got to zip them through. You just got to find the lane. That was one thing that they didn't do against the Americans in the first game. I actually wanted them to keep doing it more and more throughout the championship game, but we're getting a little bit blocked. But overall, man, just an incredible performance from MacKinnon. He's the guy right now, boys. He's the best player on the planet. If I had to pick one guy, he's my guy.
Hey, Biz, how do you feel? You just brought him up, Harley. How do you feel about one of your most impactful D being born in the U.S. and playing his whole hockey career in the U.S. with Harley?
I don't really like. I don't know. I don't know why he has Canadian citizenship, but happy
I didn't
to have
even
him
know
on
that.
board.
Mer. Where's he from?
Happy to have him on
Syracuse
board.
Stars. Grew up playing. He lived in Syracuse. Born in Syracuse, New York. Syracuse Star.
That could have been an example. Did like the U.S. pass him over for something and he said, fuck you guys? Because
I don't
that's
know the whole
crazy.
backstory. I
That's
know
crazy.
USA Hockey does not like Syracuse Stars. We know that for a fact.
Guys, Whit here, and I want to talk to you about Dove. Finally, there is a scrub designed for men's needs. No longer does your wife have all the soap in the shower and you got to maybe smell like a woman. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's now Dove. And add in to your repertoire, to your shower, the new Dove Men Plus Care body and face scrubs to your shower routines. You use it in the shower, the bath, or at the sink right before you go to bed. And right when you wake up, you apply to wet skin, rinse, clean, and then follow with your favorite Dove Men Plus Care body wash or cleansing bar. Scrub transforms how you and your skin feel. You will see a glow that you have never seen before after using Dove Men Plus Body Care. It's made for your face. It's made for your body. It's made for your scalp. It's made for everywhere. You need Dove Men Plus Body Care and face scrubs. And if you want to try, find it at any Walmart today. Get on down there, go to Walmart, ask the person that works there, say, send me to the aisle where I can get some Dove Men Plus body care and face scrubs, and they'll point you in the right direction. And then you're off looking better, feeling better, and actually smelling to perfection. I'll say that. That's what Dove does. Keith Yandel will not go to anyone's house who doesn't use Dove. He made that clear. It's all about Dove. It's all about Dove Men Plus body care and face scrubs. Go right now to Walmart to get yours today.
Do you guys want to talk about the fact going into it that Hagel kind of chirped Tkachuk about making all that stuff public? I actually think like the Tkachuks doing all that shit just created more noise around the tournament.
It just
like
made
everything
it
that
bigger.
they did just drew more attention. Necessarily not the Canadian way. I think Canadians and their team like to go about business in a different manner, keep a little bit more quiet.
You haven't won a Stanley Cup since '93. What are you talking about?
Buddy, okay, do this for me. Go calculate the percentage of amount of Canadians on every Stanley Cup winning team in the midst of that run. Yeah. And I bet you they have more of a percentage than any nationality on majority of those teams. So
I want to
that
get
argument is
clear,
kind of a bit of a wash, in my opinion.
I'm curious because I know Hagel came out and it actually was awesome how it worked out that there was 2 days between the final from Monday's 2 games to Thursday, because you had this like WWE effect that Quinn Hughes was coming. Maybe the most electric couple hours I've ever seen on Twitter. Like Mike Sullivan gets up, Quinn Hughes is coming. It's like, holy shit. And then you get into the rules of this tournament, which I think they didn't really know what was going to happen, but like the rules and the roster rules ended up kind of being like such a clusterfuck. For example, Harley comes to the tournament and then he's standing in the locker room looking out on the ice until Makar gets off the ice. Then he hops on. He ends up playing that night against the U.S. So it's kind of madness that Hughes was going to come, but then he can't play unless another D goes down, which I thought was bullshit considering Hughes was on the original roster. It almost should have changed if you were originally named, but whatever. I mean, you can't hit everything out of the park, and the NHL hit 99% out of the park with this. But Hagel comes out in those 2 days off, and he mentions, I didn't do this for the cameras. I did that for the flag, talking about his fight with Tkachuk. Now, after the game of the championship game, Marchand said, hey, that's what happens when you run your mouth. Sometimes it bites you in the ass, talking about the Tkachuk brothers. What did the Tkachuk brothers say or do that was so, like, as you just said, Biz, not the Canadian way? Like, they didn't fight off the opening draw for cameras. They didn't.
No, I think that the fact that they brought it up and talked about the text thread after it was what probably ignited them a little bit. Keep in mind, I'm coming from a straight up viewer standpoint. Like, I loved it. Like, I thought it draws so much more attention. It just added more spice and drama to the whole mix. And I also love the fact that Hagel chirped him before the game. Like, this is exactly what I want. You know?
Yeah.
And
he dropped an incredible hammer after the game
after
with the team
game
group chat.
He has the team group chat and renamed it Champion. So just all-time pettiness coming from both sides, and I absolutely love it. And Marchand, Tkachuk, they have a bit of a rivalry too, man. This is just a precursor to the Olympics, guys. This is as good as it gets, right? I think that a lot of casual sports fans found out who Jack Eichel was this fucking week. Same with maybe not so much more Austin Matthews. I guess he's more maybe of a household name, would you say? But just an incredible tournament, and I couldn't be happier for the league, Mur.
Yeah, the number one guy that broke out to me was we go by one name now. He's like Madonna, Slavin.
This guy.
There was not a single person in our box who could say his first name, but he was the best player on the ice last night, shutting down
every
things.
night.
He did a 170-foot diagonal backhand pass on the tape. Like, he's incredible. That guy, oh my God. Like, I would trade everybody I own on my team to get a D-man like him.
He is a true shutdown defenseman.
That cross-ice pass, because it's a little thing. My buddy was over who's not a huge hockey fan, and I rewounded it to show him that pass just because of, like, the whole situation of the game, just making that backhand cross-ice pass it takes balls and it just takes trust in yourself. And he is just a human eraser back there. Like the stick plays that he made, the block that he had on Jarvis,
when he laid down there,
he took a goal away from Crosby.
Took a goal away from Sid at the empty netter.
Oh,
he is
just
so
fun.
fast. I can't and guys, Brock Faber, like those two together, that might be the best shutdown D pair like I can ever remember. And I know Canadians, you'll scream at me about whoever Pronger played with in the 2010 games and all that, and I get it, but recency bias, these two, Faber, every 50-50 puck, the guy comes out with the puck. He's not that tall. He's wide. He's a tank. You can just tell. Skates like the wind, too. He led the game in ice time. Faber did. I think he was 29 minutes, 30 seconds. But him and Slavin, they were throwing them out there every other shift. It was like Fox, like, get him off the ice. And then all of a sudden you'd see Slavin and Faber come on. You're like, oh, thank God, nothing bad's going to happen. Nothing bad's going to happen. And Werenski was great, too. But Slavin, holy shit. Holy shit, this guy. I couldn't believe him. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm talking McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby. He's just eating these guys' lunch at the blue line. It was nuts. Fans around me are like, who is this guy? Who's 74? I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm just learning as well, folks.
Just Slavin. One name. That's what he is known now.
I'm not a huge fan of watching the Minnesota Wild. Hand up. Love Billy Guerin. Love, some of the guys in that team. But so I didn't know a ton about Brock Faber, and this guy is the real deal Diana Steele, dude. I have never seen a young kid come in like that and just, it was like you were talking about when Makar came into the playoffs and was just like, I'm here. This is my time. Obviously, they're different players. One's a little more dynamic offensively, but that Faber, Slavin, sign me up for watching them on Best for the next 10 years, please, and I will pay any amount of money for it.
That's what's great about this tournament. It totally is an appetizer to next year in Milan. Mm-hmm. And now you kind of know, all right, we're putting those two together. And then Werenski completely carries whoever he's playing with. And now he was with Jake Sanderson, but Jake Sanderson looked great. But Werenski, same thing. Like the whole tournament, every time he was on the ice. I know he was out there for the first goal, I believe, the McKinnon one. But other than that, like his rushes, chance to score, his defense, phenomenal player. Like I love our D. And then you get Quinn Hughes back. It's like, all right, different ball game. But the one question I had to you guys was, it was very evident that Matthew Tkachuk was hurt. I'm guessing it's a groin based on how it kind of happened Saturday night in Montreal. And, he takes a couple days off and he gets out there and right off the hop, you could tell, Biz. The guy's hurting, right? He had nothing to give. So he didn't play a shift in the second, third, or overtime. I think he played about 6 minutes. And I'm sitting there like, oh, if you knew he was that injured, like maybe throw in Tage Thompson. But Mike Sullivan was, I think somebody asked him after, it's like, he's like our emotional leader.
Yeah.
We wanted him, even if he couldn't go, we wanted him on the bench. I get it, but it sucks to go down to 11 forwards at that point and then not have one of your top guys be able to play. Like an enormous loss. Like we were more injured than you guys. Not an excuse, but we were.
And I think Brady was a little banged up too, although he had a fucking awesome game on the forecheck like a maniac. And I think we've spread a lot of love over to the States. One guy that we haven't mentioned yet for Canada, Sam the Bennett Menace. Why are you laughing? God. Why are you laughing, Jens?
Because
you knew he was going to drop the hammer. Yeah.
That guy's a weapon.
He's a weapon. How about that fucking goal he scores? He was laying on hits, heavy on the forecheck, just a junkyard dog. If I'm going best on best and you need a guy you could stand next to who you could trust, who to go to bat with, who to go to war with, I'm taking Sam Bennett majority of the time, man. What an absolute fucking gamer. The fact that the Calgary Flames just gave that guy away, what a disgrace.
They should all be locked up, whoever traded him.
What a miss that was.
He wasn't even part of the Huberdeau. He wasn't part of the Huberdeau.
No,
he was before that. Yeah, we got him I can't even remember who he was traded
Probably for a nothing burger too. I'd be shocked. I think it might have been like a first rounder. Maybe not even, like a second rounder.
He was traded with a 6th round pick to the Florida Panthers in exchange for the draft rights to Emil Heineman, who's now in Montreal, and a 2nd rounder.
Oof.
So
that's a miss. That's a big miss.
But here's the thing. He's now, people who are sick of the Panthers and how hard they play, the Panthers, the animals, the lunatics, that he's gone. I think he's gone because after this tournament and the Cup Finals, it's like he's and the cap going up. Somebody is going to throw him a bag that you cannot turn down, in my mind. Now, maybe I'm wrong and he's willing to take a lot less. I don't think Florida will be able to pay him what other teams are going to throw him. I think the Toronto Maple Leafs would be willing to pay that guy like $10 million a year. He's exactly what Toronto needs, Biz. And he's going to get a crazy number. What a goal, though. I thought he was going to go to the backhand. He kind of made that little fake. It just goes right over the shoulder of Hellebuck and tie ball game. Fuck.
Yeah, shout out Marner on that goal. He made an incredible play.
Sick dish.
More importantly, man, the confidence and experience my Leafs gained in that tournament. I mean, we knew Nylander was clutch. He had a hell of a tourney. Matthews, he usually shows up pretty good in big games. Maybe not every single time, but he was a monster in that one. And then for Marner to have 2 assists and finally show up in a big moment where things were getting physical, intense, like a playoff atmosphere, that is such a huge confidence boost for Mitchie Marner. I say give him the $14 million now, for fuck's sakes. 8 times 14, hand it over. He is who Rantanen thought he was.
I love the fact, like, obviously, you know what all these guys can do offensively, like Matthews and Eichel, like, but what they did defensively, and I don't know if I just don't pay attention to them as much.
Matthews
defensively.
Been doing it for years.
No, I know, but to do it against best on best it was so impressive to me, the way that those guys took the responsibility of, just buckling down defensively, like never cheating, back checking, like Jack Eichel back checking is unbelievable. His first 3 strides are back as hard as he can. And it's the same with, everyone else, like Sid, like every guy in that tournament grew up idolizing Sid, no matter what team you're on. He led the way. He's carried this league for the last 20 years, and he plays hard, plays for his country, plays for his league. And you can just tell every guy just tries to want to be like him a little bit, wants to play hard, wants to play the game the right way. And just a amazing couple days.
I had a giant just, cherry on top of my shit Sunday where I get into bed. I just drove directly home, got right into bed, and I'm just scrolling my phone, and a video pops up of McDavid, Marchand, and Crosby out in the hallway outside the locker room. And who do they run into? But another serial winner, Patrice Bergeron. I'm like, Jesus. And what does Bergeron say? He says, Sid, you just keep on winning, huh? And I said, fuck me. These fucking guys have been tooling on our country for years. They did it in World Juniors. They did it in the Olympics twice. And they can't stop winning. And even Bergeron saying you can't stop winning. McDavid's sitting there, and you take the flame from Crosby. And now you score the game winner. You get a game winner, and you get a game winner, and you get a Hall of Fame career, and you get a gold medal, and you get a cup. Fuck me. But seeing Bergeron underneath, it's like that's what they do. They win.
Well, you guys are champions in some regard. You guys are the champions of fake news. You got the community note. I want to know, how did that community note get deleted? And for people who don't know, Biz, let me just set it up. Yeah.
Fox News, legacy media's dead, Biz said. Fox News puts up a tweet. Ex-Team Canada star says country will be in national crisis if they lose tonight against the United States.
A lot of truth to that headline.
So I click on the thing, and I'm thinking, wow, Pronger, is Scott Niedermayer talking to Fox News? Adam Foote? Wait, Joe Sakic? And I see your fucking face and your big potato nose. And I said, I retweeted faster than you could retweet anything. I said, star, Team Canada star. And then all of a sudden, a couple hours later, we get an all-time community note. I mean, a community note that stopped me dead in my tracks.
Have your laughs.
Have your chuckles, Americans. I tweeted, I immediately said, Did Biz just got hit harder by a community note than he did by 6 Irish travelers? The community note said, Bissonnette may have played for Team Canada as a teenager in the Under-18 World Championships.
Gold medal.
He was far from a star then and could be considered the pinnacle of his career. Paul Biznasty never played for Canada again. His fame has come post-career as a media personality. I thought we won the game. I thought that was it. It's over. I didn't even think we needed to play it after that community note.
You guys are all about the media, all about the flashy shit, all about the group texts. We just handle business in Canada. I could take all your ricochet shots. Yeah. Hey, it was such a gutless shot. I even had Sarah Palin defending me on Twitter.
I saw that. How did it get deleted? That's what I don't get. Sarah
I
Palin
had
might
Sarah
have called
Palin scrub
Congress.
it. I had my new girlfriend, Sarah Palin, scrub it. It was a pretty tough start to the week for me, guys. Not only getting dummied online by Fox News, but I found out the love of my life, Bonnie Blue, is pregnant with another man's child. So this is a big, big W in Canada for many, many reasons. All right, folks? And I thank you for all your support. So me and Sarah Palin are off into the sunset now because she is, for her age,
Dime.
boys, she is a 10. She is a 10 out of fucking 5.
You know who I loved? You know who I absolutely loved? And I'm like, wow, it makes total sense. He's a captain. He's worked his way from the fourth line to one of the top players on the team. And I got to think Detroit possibly gets in now. Dylan Larkin, boys.
Oh, yeah.
What a player.
Yeah.
That guy is nails. Talk about defense and offense. I think the biggest takeaway from the game and the tournament is if you're going to play for Team USA or Team Canada, you have to be able to play both sides of the puck. And that was what kind of upset me. And I don't know if your guys, I can go to you, Biz, first. Like, we're looking at trying to match McDavid and trying to match McKinnon in the upper echelon of the NHL. It's like, fuck, we need guys. We got Matthews. We need guys. And you're kind of hoping Jack Hughes is one of those guys. I don't know in that tournament. And I'm going to say he's very young. I think he's 22, maybe 23. And that's his first best on best where the physicality and everything ramps up. But kind of looked a little boy versus man type situation for him throughout the tournament. And maybe it changes as he gets bigger and stronger and older, but I was left hoping for more from him, Biz.
Yeah, but like, and like, this isn't a ricochet shot at Marner either. I thought like in prior playoff experience, it was very similar where like sometimes these smaller guys, when the environment gets a little bit tense, there's way less room to work with out there, and it's very smothering hockey. And you also have to be very impactful on the defensive side. I think that this, like, I'll go back to my comments about it being a precursor to the Olympics. Like, he's going to have a full year here to put some time into his game, into the gym, have a big offseason in order to come back and make an impact. Now, maybe things are different with the mentality in which he plays with, where his brother's on the ice and he's a lot more offensive and they're sharing a brain and they're finding each other. So maybe not having his brother on the team hurt him a little bit. But listen, he's very young and a lot of room to grow here. And getting this experience in this tournament, I'm sure will spark him along with plenty of other guys. And it's not even the guys that were involved and were picked on the team. Like, you got to think Jason Robertson watched that and is thinking, I want to fucking get there. Same thing goes with Tage Thompson. You don't think Cole Caulfield's even more motivated, especially after getting snubbed based on the season that he had? Think about all the Canadians. Think about Wyatt Johnston. Like, he fucking probably wants to get in the mix in. So there's a lot of these young players who watch that tournament who are like, damn, like, not only do I want to be a part of that, but I got a lot of work in order to put into my game in order to be worthy of being a part of that.
And the only reason, before you go, G, sorry, the only reason I bring up Jack Hughes is because he's so good that, like, for us to get to the level where we finally can get by you guys, like the first overall pick, like 100-point type star that Jack Hughes is, we need him to become truly dominant in these games. Like, I'm saying it because, like, he is the guy that we're going to really need the next 2, 4, 8 years to become the guy.
Well,
Whit, he is our answer to a lot of those top guys because of his skill and his speed. Like, he has to turn into that, which I believe he can.
And you think that, but you're like kind of the way that Billy G, you're building a roster to try to combat the best other teams where there's only so much top 6 space, right? So if you think that you have that locked in with guys who can not only play offensively under that type of pressure, that type of tight gap, close defense, right? If you're not getting those minutes, like, is he valuable on a lower line? And that's where you got to balance that
See, we
scale.
need him to be a top 6. Like if we're gonna win a gold medal or a World Cup, he's gonna be one of our top 3 players. Like, that's how
and
good
if not,
he is.
maybe he's the extra guy where if one of those guys goes down, you throw him in that situation. But the thing is now, with US taking leaps and bounds steps to get better is they got a lot of dogs, man. There's only so much ice time out there. People
You saw
were
Kyle
also
Connor get scratched.
people were complaining before the game about Kyle Connor getting scratched for Kreider. Now, I said in the group chat, like, I don't know, man. Kreider is a bit of a pain in the ass around the blue paint. He's a fast guy. He could forecheck like a madman. Maybe not necessarily the most physical guy, but you'd assume in a game like that, you're coming out of your comfort zone, right? So a guy like Kyle Connor, I thought he was effective at times in the tournament, but also maybe one-dimensional in the sense of the role that he needed to play in that game. Like, it's just like, who are going to be your dogs? Like, there might be more skilled players. Like, you might say Scheifele's more skilled than Sam Bennett, but Sam Bennett has other variables that can squeeze in the top 6 to make him more valuable in a situation like that. And that's just the way it is. People can say, oh, Scheifele's more valuable and a better player than Jarvis. It's like, well, but maybe you need that guy penalty killing, and maybe you need him providing energy that a guy like Scheifele might not be able to do in a bottom 6 role. So there's a lot of thought that goes into these rosters, guys, where, I think that Jack Hughes is a guy that's for sure penciled in on that Olympic roster, but you have to construct your roster to compete against Canada, potentially Russia. Sweden ain't going away. Finland's going to have a better showing with Heiskanen in their back end a lot healthier and probably having a little bit of bad taste in their mouth based on this performance here. Although not terrible, they finished 4th. So there's a lot of pride at stake here.
And you mentioned Dylan Larkin, and I thought he had a really interesting quote after the game, just kind of about the state of USA hockey and guys wanting to play for USA hockey. He said, "We've had a tough time with USA hockey getting guys to play in the World Championship. Guys who are at home watching this, I hope they want a piece of it. They've got to go to the World Championships and prove themselves if they want to play for their country. We've got to start winning that tournament." And I think that's where, Canada and those guys, they go and play, and that's where it starts. Pride for your country, pride for your flag, putting the crest on and going out for a game is just an unbelievable feeling. The game really grew, but I hope it pushes guys to want a piece of this. So I thought it's really interesting because that's something in the past. USA never wins the World Championships, right? Like, we need some of these guys like Jack Hughes going over there.
Half the time you're sounding a roster full of half college guys, aren't you?
Yeah, playoffs, any guy who's not in the playoffs, you'll see this year go because it's Olympics next year and you kind of have to if you want a chance. But yeah, it would be ideal if it does seem like Canada is sending very high-level players who don't make the playoffs, or even lose in the first round. You see guys go right over there. That's a good point by him because the world really does start building. Yeah.
Americans used to fake injuries not to go. You guys used to fake injuries. Like, I don't want to go to World Championship. My hand's broken. I know that firsthand fact. Also, the other part is how Team Canada handles the families and everything, how they fly them over. They have events set up. They have the hats, like business where they take care of everything so the guys want to go play. Sweden needs to step up with that. US needs to step up with that and make it something you want to go to still, World Championships.
You got to think with all the way USA hockey's going with all these guys, like Beezer's in charge, right? And then you got Billy G at the helm. They're probably running it a little bit different than when we were playing World Championships. They're treating the guys the way they probably deserve to be treated. So I love those comments from Larkin. Just proves to me the guy bleeds red, white, and blue. He's a shoo-in for any U.S. team for the rest of his career with those comments alone. And but yeah, you got to think that they're treating them better than they were back when we were going through it, right, Whit?
Yeah, also, I think with Olympics next year, so everyone's going this year who isn't in the playoffs. The good thing is then you got 28, then you got 30 Olympics, then you got 32 World Cup. So now it's like guys are probably going to have to go to the World Championships every year because there is a best on best coming up so soon after each season. So that is a great point by him, and I think you'll see a change in that where, hey, if I want a chance of making that best on best World Cup or Olympic roster, my team's out of the playoffs, I'm going to Worlds. And then maybe, has the U.S. won a World Championship? They might have won one in like the 30s or so. I don't even know if they've ever won one.
I think it was 33
relegated
was the last
year
time
I was
they won
there.
one.
You guys got relegated?
Pretty much.
That's how down bad we are, folks. That's
how
down bad we are.
Oshie made the team, because we beat Italy. I think it was Italy in a shootout, and he scored like 7 times in a row, and he had 1 contact in.
Oh, like he did against Russia? He'd already done that?
That's why he got chose for that team, because of the shootouts.
I never knew he had done that prior with 1 contact in.
Yeah, we had a night the night before the game.
Guys, before we go any further, I need to talk to you about Roback. We are so lucky that Roback is a sponsor of this show. Oh, my God. The hoodies, everything. Roback has activewear. That's what we want to talk to you about is Roback activewear. And if you've seen that little dog logo or those 2 stripes on the back of shirts, you've seen Roback. It's everywhere. I know you've seen it. Some of you may know them for polos, but let us tell you about some of their new products that we cannot take off. The Roback Hesse hoodie is the single softest piece of clothing that I own. It has a nice stretch, and it is just flat out comfortable. It's easy to wear anywhere. You want to go out, you want to play golf, you want to lay around the house. It's the Hesse hoodie from Roback. There's no other way around it. It's now a safe bet to assume we are wearing a Roback hoodie at all times. Secondly, the Roback Sprint joggers are soft, lightweight, and very easy to move in. If you're looking for a nice pant for a little outdoor skate, these are them. Then if you pair it with the Hesse hoodie, you're set. Simple as that. We couldn't be more pumped to start repping Roback, and I hope that all of you join us. So use code Chiclets on roback.com for a generous 20% off your first purchase through the end of the week. That's CHICLETS on RHOBACK.com. 20% off all hoodies, joggers, and more with code Chiclets. Oh, Biz, you own us. You own us. Yeah. It's a sad day. Like I said, it's a bad day for the. But I'm very proud. I told Ryder on the way home. I said, trying to teach him, like, dude, there's games that you finish the game and you didn't deserve to win, and you didn't give it your all, and you weren't out there every shift, playing every shift like it's your last shift. And it sounds very cliche, but after games when that happens, you could sit there and you could be like, I didn't do what I could. But the U.S. did. Like, they played phenomenal. Hellebuck was great. He made a couple saves when it was 1-0 Canada, that if Canada goes up 2-0, that game's done. And the team played well enough to win. It's just Canada always finds a way. They always do, Biz.
Yeah, I couldn't be prouder of the boys. I said it to start the pod, guys. I think that this win means a lot more than you guys will ever know, given how you guys have been trying to bully us, you and your president. But I said at the beginning of the pod, I think it was the perfect political climate to spice things up and make this thing even more interesting. And it's just nice to come out on top. We fucking needed this, Canada. And I'm proud of myself for not coming in and rubbing your nose in it. We did that last night.
Oh, you're proud of yourself. Good.
Yeah,
you're right,
fucking
Biz,
right.
Right. I'm proud of you, too.
Biz is saying it means so much, because if had they lost and the country went into a Great Depression, it would have been on his back.
That's what
it
I'm
would have
saying.
been your fault.
Oh, he was done. He was done. I had all these things. I was like, you didn't come to the game. I had nothing for him, though. I had nothing for him.
See that now I regret not coming and swinging, you fucking assholes. But that's
buddy,
the Canadian.
Listen.
I said it halfway through the pod. That's the Canadian way. We take the high road. We're not worrying about telling the media that we pre-planned the fight on group text. We're just going to go in the locker room. We're going to re-strategize. We're going to handle our business appropriately. We're going to win our fights. People are saying we lost those fights. We didn't lose those fights. We didn't lose those ones. And then we brought it when the chips were on the table. We had a goalie that everybody doubted. He fucking stuffed you guys in the locker. We had a depleted back end with Makar playing with illness. He stuffed you in a locker. You doubted McJesus and whether he could win the big one, Big Cat and PFT. Fuck you. He stuffed you in a locker. Canadian champions. Our game, our time, and fuck you.
I got to have some hand up accountability here.
Yeah.
I was the guy who sent Oldie to part of my take.
Oh my God.
Oh, the difference maker.
You changed the streaming game forever.
Let me set this up. For people who don't know, Pardon My Take, monster #1 pod in the world for sports. They were looking for a very authentic Canadian to go stream the game with Big Cat and PFT. And next thing you know, Keith texts our group chat, I'm sending them a beauty, boys. who is this guy? And I've never seen, as Merle said last night, I've never seen Big Cat laugh that hard. Who is this guy?
I've never seen a moose knuckle look like that either. That was the most disgusting 5-hole area.
He was drinking maple syrup after the game.
Oh, yeah.
That was a fupa and a half.
I don't know if I read it wrong or saw it wrong. At one point, was there 602,000 people watching that live stream, or no way?
I don't think so.
No, okay. It might have been 60,000. But yeah, old.
No, I would guess 600,000. I've watched their football streams that have 300 or 400.
Oh, really?
And what that guy was doing.
Oh, my God. Who is
How do you know this guy, Yance?
You want to hear my first interaction with him?
Yeah.
Sitting in the locker room, getting ready for the first game of the NHL playoffs with the New York Rangers. All of a sudden, boom, the door busts open. I see this guy all glittered up, paint on his chest, dancing around, fedora on, because they used to give out the fedora for the player of the game, dancing around the locker room, getting us fired up. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? What is this? Who is this guy? Because I was new. I got traded at the deadline that year. I'm looking around. Everyone's going nuts for him. I asked Casey, I'm like, dude, who the fuck is this guy? He's like, that's Nasher's best friend. I'm like, Rick Nash, the most quiet human being on the planet? What are you talking about? That can't be his best friend. He's like, it's his best friend in the world. He fucking loves him to death. I'm like, holy shit. The Rangers, they used to fly him in before every series. He would dance his ass off to get us going and then just leave. He almost missed the birth of his firstborn child to be at our game, to dance. He was like, I don't know if I can make it. My wife's due tomorrow, the game.
And then Nasher's like, nah, you're coming.
Yeah, he's just that. He's a typical Canadian. He'd do anything for his friends. Just a great, great guy. But yeah, he just refuses to ever wear clothes.
What's he do for a living?
Trash man.
He's a trash man.
Or what did he call it?
Doesn't he get naked driving the truck?
Sanitation. What does he call it? A sanitation advisor or something. But yeah, he does the trash in the summertime and then plows your beautiful Canadian roads in the wintertime. He is just an all-time human. But
he might get hired. Barstool should hire that guy after that performance.
He might get signed to whoever Bussin' with the Boys went to.
People are saying that it's going to be a letdown going to regular season hockey now. I completely disagree. I think we carry this momentum over. We got the Ovi goal chase. We got the chase for the wild card, playoff positioning. I think things are just ramping up. This is it, baby. Hockey's got a period of time here where they can really take a stranglehold. And that was another topic of conversation given the 2-day layover. I thought PK Subban did a great job of basically carving the NBA, saying how it's a joke product and how the NBA, when these guys put the jersey onto their country, they fucking care. They ain't messing around. And if the Amazon or whoever does all this behind the scenes stuff, they better start shooting the build up to the Olympics now. I think basketball actually ended up doing one, and it turned out pretty good, where they followed a bunch of teams around for last year's Summer Olympics. They got to get on that. Right? You just did?
Yeah, I just finished that documentary. It was great.
It was good.
Barack
You were actually
Obama
dialed
and
in?
Michelle Obama. I think they produced it.
No shit.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. That they should do that for the hockey, for every team too, not just one team. I need every team.
I wouldn't even do an all-star game next year. They're supposed to do it in Long Island before they go over to the Olympics. I think they should just nix it, let these guys rest, and worry about the product at the Olympics.
I think every year there is an Olympics or best on best, considering they've already decided all the World Cups will be mid-season. I honestly think just don't stop the games and just make it bye weeks. I know they've kind of done this like the NFL, and just keep games going all year and don't do an all-star game, because we're going to end up looking like the NBA did at their all-star game next year if we have one. Now, it'll be a little different because the next week will be the Olympics beginning, but any year there's no best on best, we can't be doing the all-star shenanigans. We can't be doing it. And the other final takeaway I have, well, first off is these animals, these guys who went in there and put everything on the line mid-season. Faber has a game Saturday afternoon. He has a game in 24 hours. And it's just amazing to think that they're going to hop right back in. But while hopping right back in, it might seem so easy to some of these guys. Forget how tired and beat up you are, but I'm talking like last night's game was the best hockey game I've ever seen. It was the fastest game I've ever been a witness to. There was no time. There was no space. You had absolutely no room to do anything. McDavid and McKinnon and Matthews and all these superstars that we got to watch, they're going to get out there against a couple fourth liners and feel like they're playing against Bantams. It's going to be like, because every time you came down on a guy, it was the best player you're going against. Now you're going to get a couple matchups like, I got some room. I got some time. It's going to feel like a joke to these guys when they get good matchups. So I'm sick though, boys. I'm still sick. Not truly sick, just sick to my stomach for losing again to Canada.
Bravo,
I think that about
NHL.
wraps it up.
Bravo.
Yeah, seriously.
Bravo, NHL, and bravo players. And hopefully we see a growth in the game 5 to 10 years from now that really stem from this tournament. And the amount of people who watched it, I'd be shocked if that doesn't happen. It's going to be incredible to see the game grow and continue to be on this trajectory that none of us could have imagined 10 years ago. It's wild to see. And I'm just so proud to have played hockey, to have represented my country, and to now get to witness the greatest generation of players. Like, it's just unreal, the talent on the ice, the speed, the skill, and the tenacity that all these guys brought. They would have done anything to win that game last night, and they're just mid-season. That's how many Warriors play this game that we all love. So amazing. And the final thing I have to say, bad news, is we want to shout out the family and all the people in Pittsburgh and all the people who loved Mike Lang, who really was the voice of the Penguins for so long. He beat him like a rented mule, all his sayings, scratch my back with a hacksaw. He was just the voice of the Penguins through the Mario and the Yager days, and then Sid and Malkin come, and he went over to radio, and he still just crushed it all the time. And I think that he's a true legend in Pittsburgh. I mean, every single Pittsburgh native who thinks of the Penguins, you think of Mike Lang. And that guy will be remembered forever there. It was such brutal news that when we found out he passed away. So thinking of his family and his friends and the entire city of Pittsburgh, you guys lost a legend, but he'll never, ever be forgotten because every highlight played, you'll have Mike Lang's voice in the background announcing an all-time goal with an all-time call. So a great week of hockey. Really tough news from Pittsburgh with Mike Lang, but I love all you guys, even you, Biz. I'll tell you, buddy, Canada and America, we've always been brother in arms. I would never have it change. Biz, here's my hand.
Hey, there's only one left thing to say. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. That's all.
I knew you didn't know the rest of the words.
Hey, you ruined that lady last night.
Love you, everyone. We're ending this. Bye-bye.
Son's command.